Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a journey into the architecture of Zaha Hadid. Really groundbreaking stuff.
Absolutely, and we're using that great Architectural Digest article as our guide, right?
Yeah,
The one highlighting 17 of her, well, most significant buildings.
exactly. And what makes Hadid so compelling, I think, is that intensely futuristic vision she had. Those curves, the sharp angles,
hmm
and how she used materials like concrete and steel. Strong stuff, but
hmm
she made them look almost fluid, soft even.
It's like she was redefining what architecture could even be. And the article really drives home how consistently she was recognized for it.
Right.
I mean, think about it. The first woman to win the Pritzker Prize, that was 2004. That wasn't just like another award. It felt like a real shift.
A massive statement.
Yeah. And then the Sterling Prizes. Chloral, the Design Museum Award for the Heydar Aliyev Center, the Riba Gold Medal. It just shows this career built on pushing boundaries.
Okay, so let's dig into that futuristic style a bit more. What really defines it? What makes
Yeah.
you look at a building and just know it's hers?
Well, a big part is that dynamism. The way the curves and the sharp angles play off each other. It's not just decoration. It's like energy, frozen.
Frozen energy, I like that.
Yeah. And the materials, like you said, concrete and steel, we think of them as heavy, rigid, right?
Definitely.
But she somehow coaxed them into these forms that seem almost light. It kind of messes with your expectations of what those materials do.
And this mastery of the curve led to that nickname, didn't it? The Queen of the Curve.
That's the one.
The Heydar Aliyev Center is mentioned specifically for that. What makes that building such a perfect example?
The Heydar Aliyev Center in Baku.
No.
It's like a wave turned solid. So you got this reinforced concrete and polyester skin, and it's just incredibly seamless. Yeah, one curve just melts into the next. It feels like it's moving, like liquid caught mid-flow. It completely challenges that idea of buildings being static boxes.
Let's jump into some specific projects then, unpack these ideas. The Eli and Edith Broad Art Museum, Michigan State University. The description is that it looks frozen in motion. How does it achieve that?
Right, that frozen in motion thing.
Yeah.
It comes from the facade, mostly. It's got this sharply angled, almost pleated metallic skin.
Okay.
And the way the light hits those different planes,
Mm,
it just makes it look like it's shifting or unfolding as you move around it. It's definitely not your typical museum box. It forces you to like walk around and see it from different angles.
got it. Then there's something quite different. The Capitol Hill residence near Moscow, her only private home design apparently, and it's half submerged.
Yeah, pretty wild, right? Her only private house, and it's this $140 million project partially buried in the ground.
What does that tell us about her approach, even on a smaller, more personal scale?
Well, even here, you see that same ambition, integrating the building with the landscape, but in a totally unexpected way. Part underground, part reaching up almost like a spaceship landed on the hill.
Yeah.
The price tag alone tells you there was some serious bespoke engineering involved.
Yeah.
A unique vision for sure.
Going back to the Heydar Aliyev Center for a second, you mentioned the materials. Reinforced concrete and polyester. It's huge too, right? Over 600,000 square feet. How did those materials make such a fluid design possible on that scale?
The reinforced concrete is key for the structure. It let her create those huge sweeping curves without needing tons of columns inside. We would have broken up the flow. And the polyester cladding, well, that probably helped get that super smooth, almost continuous surface finish. It let them realize these incredibly complex shapes that would be way harder with, say, traditional bricks or stone. It's a real marriage of material tech and the design vision.
Interesting. Now, the Riverside Museum in Glasgow. That sounds different again, a striking zigzagging zinc-clad roof. More angles.
Yeah, more angular, definitely. Not as overtly curvy as some others, but still totally dynamic. That zigzag roof gives it this powerful rhythm, almost like the river it sits beside, the Clyde.
Okay, so reflecting the location.
Exactly. And the zinc cladding gives it a sharper, maybe more industrial feel.
Yeah.
It shows she wasn't just a one-trick pony with curves.
Yeah.
She had a wider vocabulary.
Makes sense. And the London Aquatic Center for the 2012 Olympics. That undulating concrete roof with cutouts for light sounds like form and function working together beautifully.
Oh, absolutely. The Aquatic Center is a great example of that.
Yeah.
The wavy roof obviously echoes the water inside, right?
Mm.
But it also cleverly integrates these openings for natural light, which is great for the swimmers and probably helps with energy use too. And it held, what, 17,500 spectators? So she could handle these massive public projects too.
Wow. Okay, the Guangzhou Opera House, shaped like two pebbles on the Pearl River. That sounds almost poetic.
It really does. And apparently the inside continues that feeling. The article mentions gypsum panels and flowing shapes and thousands of tiny lights, creating this sort of celestial atmosphere.
Like a starry sky.
Kind of, yeah. It shows how she thought about the whole experience, inside and out.
Hmm.
The pebble shape connects to the river outside, and the inside becomes this immersive, shimmering space. It's all very organic.
Then there's the Zaragoza Bridge Pavilion in Spain. A bridge, but also an exhibition space, made of 29,000 fiberglass reinforced concrete triangles.
Yeah, the complexity there is just mind-boggling. 29,000 triangles.
Wow.
It really speaks to her willingness to just push engineering. Using fiberglass reinforced concrete meant it could be strong but also lightweight enough to span the river and house exhibits. It shows how much advanced fabrication was needed for her ideas.
Okay, turning to the U.S., the Rosenthal Contemporary Arts Center in Cincinnati, notable because it uses more cubic shapes, right? And it was the first U.S. museum designed by a woman.
That's right. It shows another side of her. Not all curves, but still dynamic. You have these interlocking, cantilevered blocks, creating a really powerful sculptural feel in the city.
Different geometry, same dynamism.
Kind of, yeah. And the fact that it was the first U.S. museum by a woman architect, that's huge. A real barrier broken.
Definitely. Then back to Europe, the Pheno Science Center in Germany, described as an immense concrete structure on stilts. Sounds bold.
It is very bold, big statement in concrete. Lifting the main structure up on these stilts creates this open, inviting space underneath. And inside, it's all dramatic angles, exposed structure, very tactile, very experiential, perfect for a science center where you're meant to explore, right?
Makes sense. And MAXXI, the National Museum of the 21st Century Arts in Rome. Concrete and steel again, but on a former military site. How does it interact with that history?
MAXXI is fascinating. Its flowing lines and interwoven paths feel like continuous movement, which is such a contrast to the rigid order you'd expect from an old military compound.
So it's kind of overlaying a new energy onto the old site.
Exactly. The concrete and steel give it weight, appropriate for a national museum, but the dynamic forms invite you to explore, blurring the lines between inside and outside.
Then the Antwerp Port House, her only government building, opened the year she died. Neo-futuristic and aggressively leaning sounds like quite a final statement.
It's incredibly striking. You have this historic building below, and then perched on top is this crystalline, diamond-like structure that seems to lean forward.
Aggressively.
Aggressively, yeah. It's a symbol of innovation for the port, very forward-looking. That blend of respecting the old while adding something radically new, that's very Hadid, a powerful final piece.
And then, completed after her death, 1000 Museum in Miami. A residential tower with this amazing curved structural exoskeleton.
Oh, that exoskeleton is incredible. Made from glass fiber reinforced concrete, thousands of pieces.
And it's structural, not just decoration.
That's the key. It is the structure. It allows for these huge open-plan apartments inside with no columns blocking the view. And it defines that unique, fluid look on the skyline. It shows how far material science lets architects go now.
It's just incredible. Lastly, Galaxy Soho in Beijing. 4 interconnected spherical buildings for retail and offices. Sounds like a whole new type of city block.
It really is thinking on an urban scale. These connected flowing domes create this dynamic complex. No sharp corners, everything just flows together, connecting these different uses, shops, offices, entertainment. It changes how you experience moving through that kind of space.
It's just amazing how consistently her vision comes through across all these different types of projects, different locations.
Right.
And the article mentions how the buildings seem to change as you move around them, challenging that idea of architecture as just a static object.
That's so central to her work. Her buildings aren't just things to look at. They're experiences that unfold. They demand you move, engage, see them from multiple angles. It's a much more active relationship with the building.
Yeah. And that ability, which we keep coming back to take strong materials, concrete, steel, and make them seem fluid, almost organic, that's the magic, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It shows this deep understanding of both design and, frankly, engineering, pushing materials to their limits to achieve forms that seem to defy gravity, defy their own nature. It creates that visual tension, that wow factor.
The article definitely paints her as a visionary, someone who just kept pushing. And seeing all those awards listed really underlines her impact. Her death in 2016 felt so sudden, didn't it?
It really did. A huge loss at just 65. But her legacy is, well, it's immense. It's not just the buildings themselves, iconic as they are. She genuinely inspired architects to think bigger, to be bolder, to question what's possible. Her influence is still shaping things today.
So wrapping up this deep dive, drawing on that architectural digest piece, you really get a sense of Zaha Hadid's completely unique architectural language, this fusion of opposite strength and fluidity, sharp angles and sweeping curves, using tough materials to create something dynamic and, yeah, unforgettable.
Precisely. She just wasn't afraid to challenge how things were done. She proved architecture could be structurally brilliant and incredibly expressive at the same time. Her work still sparks conversation, still inspires awe.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a thought to leave you with. Considering how dynamic and perspective shifting Hadid's buildings are, how might our cities look? How might they feel if those principles, that fluidity, that challenge to fixed viewpoints were embraced more widely in urban design?
That's a great question. Definitely something to think about.
We really encourage you to look up images of these buildings we've talked about. See them for yourself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.